Okay, so we need to talk about Millie Bobby Brown because the internet has been wilding over how she looks and not in a good way.
People think that Millie Bobby Brown looks old now. Apparently, a lot of people didn't even recognize Millie in the video. Basically, the top comment on the video is someone saying that they thought Millie Bobby Brown was Noah's mother or just some old lady.
Oh, that's...
I had no idea she was getting this much hate for the way she looks. I thought maybe it was just one article, one person said this, or a couple people said this, but no, this has been an ongoing thing, and I didn't realize the magnitude of it until she made a video on Instagram calling everyone out.
I'm now a target. This isn't journalism. This is bullying.
And once I went down that rabbit hole, I realized actually how bad this whole situation is. And that's why I'm making this video. Now, unless you live under a rock or you just don't watch TV at all, which I doubt you do, you probably have heard of Millie. She's been famous since she was basically a child, and most of us first saw her as 11 in Stranger Things, you know, her head shaved, nose bleeding. She was using like telekinesis. Is that how you say it? Telekinesis? Girl, I don't know. But she was using that mind control to like move stuff, you know, that show. That's what I'm talking about. So we all grew to know and love her as 11 on Stranger Things, and she got great press, but now the press is shifting away from that. They're shifting away from calling her a child star sensation or a rising actress to watch. Now all of the articles and headlines are about how she looks currently. And not in a good way, not in a, wow, she's glowing, what's her secrets type way. They are calling her old. They are saying that she looks like a 40-year-old housewife from New Jersey. That is what's going on. Now we have not only people on the internet, but also doctors, estheticians, plastic surgeons weighing in on how badly she's aging. Badly she's aging. Mind you, Millie is 21. She just turned 21 years old, and people are already saying that she looks old. Honestly, I wasn't even gonna make a video about this, but when I saw that she posted on Instagram her clapback when she was calling everyone out by name, I just knew I had to talk about it because this issue is bigger than Millie. So in this video, we're going all the way in. We're gonna talk about who Millie is in case you don't know her. We're gonna talk about her rise as a child star to a grown woman. Then we're gonna deep dive into the outrage, talk about the double standards, and what this says about the way we view aging, especially when it comes to young women in the spotlight. Because let's be real, this is not just about Millie, it's about all of us. And hopefully by the end of this video, we can answer this question. What is age actually supposed to look like? Before we start talking about Millie, I just want to quickly mention that I have a second channel on YouTube. Feel free to check it out. I get a lot of video requests that don't make sense to be on this channel, so that's why I made the second channel. And also when this channel stresses me out, I'm gonna go there. So feel free to check it out, but let's continue with this video. Part 1. Who is Millie Bobby Brown? So Millie Bobby Brown was born February 19, 2004 in Marbella, Spain. But she's actually British though. As I said before, most people know her from the show Stranger Things. She even got nominated for a Grammy twice for that role. If you have not watched it, you have definitely heard about it. But let's take it back before Stranger Things and let's talk about Millie's growth as an actor before she hit that milestone in her career. Her family moved a lot when she was younger because first she was born in Spain, then when she was 4 years old they moved to England, and then after that when she was 8 years old they moved to Florida. And a fact about Millie which I never knew was that she was born partially deaf in one of her ears. I'm not sure which one it was, and eventually as time went on she lost all hearing in that ear. But as she has mentioned many times in interviews that just because she cannot hear out of one ear, it does not affect her ability to sing, act, or perform her job. And it definitely doesn't, because if you see how talented she is, I'm gonna go over it though, but Millie is a very talented young lady, so I never even knew she was partially deaf, but either way, she's still slaying, and she is showing people that no matter your setbacks, you can also make it too. So Millie actually got her start in acting at an acting workshop. While she was there, a talent scout told her parents that she had something special, and that was all it took for them to pack up and move to LA for Millie to pursue acting. And once they got to LA, Millie started getting roles pretty quickly. Her first real role was playing young Alice in Once Upon a Time in Wonderland, which is the show that is adapted from the popular series Once Upon a Time. So the show is a bit old, so I'm not sure if y'all have heard about it, but it was popular because I remember when I was younger, I would always come back from school and Once Upon a Time was always playing on the television. I never watched it though because it never like enticed me to watch it, but it was popular. So the show that Millie was in was Once Upon a Time in Wonderland, which was a spin-off from Once Upon a Time. Hopefully that's clear. When Millie would have landed this role, she would have been around 9 or 10 years old. So that was her start in the industry. She started very young. 9 and 10, girl, I didn't even know what I was doing when I was 9 and 10. Probably picking my nose, but so we should be mindful that Millie did start her career quite young. And most of us know that child stars, for the most part, aren't treated the best, especially the things that have come out recently. So growing up in the spotlight definitely does affect someone. Anyways, the show Once Upon a Time in Wonderland didn't do well. They only had one season and then they canceled the show. But after that, Millie was still getting new gigs. She was in the British paranormal series called Intruders, and she also made guest appearances on shows like NCIS, Modern Family, and Grey's Anatomy, which you most definitely should know. If you haven't watched Grey's Anatomy, that's cool, but you definitely know the show exists. Because me, myself, I know the show. My friends watch it, whatever, but I don't watch it. In all of these shows that I just mentioned, Millie played small roles, but even with those small roles, you could tell that she could act her tail off. And I'm not saying this to be biased because I really have no reason to be biased. I don't know Millie personally. She don't know me. So I gain nothing from hyping her up. But she can actually act. Like, I was like, oh girl, you can act. There's this one scene in Grey's Anatomy that she was in, because she was only in one episode. And when I tell you, like, I don't cry in movies. When I cry, it's about like what's going on in my life. I don't cry because I'm watching a sad movie or I'm watching a video or whatever. It takes a lot for a movie to make me cry. And low-key, when I was watching the scene of her in Grey's Anatomy, I almost like shed a tear because I'm like, wow, she snapped. I searched it up and Millie would have been around 11 years old during her scene in Grey's Anatomy, which I found just shocking because I'm like, wow, girl. At 11, she was acting her tail off. And me, when I was 11 years old, girl, I don't know what I was doing. Maybe making sandcastles or something like that. But anyways, in this scene that I'm talking about, Millie, you can't see her face though, but she's on the phone with the hospital staff, I'm assuming the doctors. It seems like her mom is having a heart attack, so they're telling Millie to do CPR on her mom. She doesn't know how to do it, but they tell her to sing the song Staying Alive.
Staying alive, staying alive.
Because if you've taken a CPR class, they use that song Staying Alive by the Bee Gees. That's how you say it, right? I'm pretty sure. You know that song, like, staying alive? That song, because the tempo of that song helps you stay on beat when you're giving someone CPR. So they told her to perform CPR to the beat of the song Staying Alive. So they told her to sing it so she stays on beat to help her mother survive. In that scene, you couldn't see her face, but you could hear her voice, and just hearing her sing the song and just convey so much emotion with just her voice. I was like, wow, girl, you can act.
Staying alive, staying alive. Staying alive.
I didn't end up watching the full episode, but I watched the parts that Millie was in, and she was amazing in the show. And mind you, she was only 11 years old, so she definitely had something special. Millie has had several small roles that have showed off her acting abilities, as I mentioned earlier, but it wasn't until 2016 when the whole world knew sis can act. And that is because Stranger Things was released on Netflix. So Millie played 11, who was a mysterious girl with psychokinetic powers who escaped from a creepy lab. So the show was a massive hit, and 11 became an iconic character. Stranger Things became one of Netflix's biggest series, and Millie got Emmy nominations in 2017 and 2018 for her performance. The show was really that good. I still am not caught up though, because you know life, sometimes you forget to catch up, and you know what I'm saying. The acting was top tier, the storyline was top tier, the plot was top tier, and usually I don't like watching shows that people tell me to watch, or if there's too much hype surrounding a show, I don't like watching it, just because I'm like, is it really that good, or are y'all lying to me? But this show definitely deserves all the hype it's gotten. So if you haven't watched it, or if you're someone who doesn't like watching shows because people hype it up too much, I recommend Stranger Things. It's a great show. And now is a perfect time to catch up because the last season of Stranger Things will premiere this year, I'm pretty sure. I know they're done filming the show, but I'm pretty sure it's this year, yeah. So now's the perfect time to catch up. But for anyone who has somehow missed the Stranger Things craze, I'll explain the show briefly. The show is like a sci-fi horror drama set in the 1980s in a small town of Hawkins, Indiana. So the story revolves around a group of kids caught up in a supernatural nightmare, thanks to a shady government experiment gone terribly wrong. The experiment tears open a portal to another dimension, which they call the Upside Down, unleashing a powerful otherworldly evil. The chaos kicks off when Will, one of the kids, mysteriously vanishes. Meanwhile, 11, who is played by Millie Bobby Brown, she's a girl with telekinetic powers who escaped from a secret lab and joins forces with Will's friends to find him, realizing along that she may have played a role in what happened to Will. What really makes Stranger Things resonate with a large audience is its deeper themes about friendship, family, redemption, and the constant battle between between evil and good. 11 is easily one of the most complex characters on the show, and to be able to play a complex character, you have to have talent, first of all. So that's what I'm just trying to let y'all know. Millie has talent. She's famous for a reason. But the character 11, she's got insane powers. She can throw vans, snap necks, and she can close interdimensional portals with just her mind. So very complex character. One thing I really want to highlight on the show is how seriously the whole cast took their roles. They did a really good job at acting their tail up. And even Millie, I know I'm praising her a lot, but I believe she would have been around 12 years old on Stranger Things, and at that time she had to shave off her head. And what 12-year-old girl would shave off her head for work? 12-year-olds don't even work though, but you know what I mean. But she didn't care. She shaved off her head because we know hair is a really important thing to young girls and honestly to everyone, because most girls Millie's age would be terrified to do something like that, especially to do that and then to go on TV with a bunch of cameras in your face. But this alone just shows her dedication as an actress and how committed she was to her role and how seriously she takes her job. Due to the success of Stranger Things, Millie's career blew up almost overnight, and it blew up when she was very, very young. So of course she got to live out her dream life. Acting was working out and she was slaying. But when you become famous at a young age, you're gonna have to grow up in the spotlight, and that is exactly what Millie is currently doing. Some would say that it's a dream to be a child star because all of your parents' hard work finally paid off. You can help your family live your dream life and just have a life that millions would want, which I can see that being true, but at the same time, we've seen how child stars have been treated. On top of that, growing up is already hard and ghetto. So imagine growing up in the spotlight. That is something that I cannot even try to understand. I mean, I can try to understand it, but I'm not gonna understand it because I've never been through it. I mean, I almost could have gone through it because when I was younger, I loved to act. Honestly, I loved to do a lot of things when I was younger. I was a very creative child, but I loved to act and I wanted to get my acting career started. So I found an agency and I begged my parents to take me to like a consultation just to like see the requirements, let me know. So we did that. And the agency low-key, now that I think about it, was giving scam because they weren't even trying to assess my abilities or nothing like that. They were just feeding me all these like la-la-las. Like they're like, girl, we can put you on the cover of magazines. You're gonna rock down runways. You can even sing if you want to sing. But at that time I was like, I don't want to sing because I couldn't sing. And I was like, oh my God, really? Like I want to join. But to be able to join their agency, I had to go to an event. It was like a huge like marketing event. I don't know what I would call it. Maybe like a fashion show, but it was in New York City. And the lady was telling me and my mom that there's gonna be so much talent scouts there. They're trying to find the next face of Disney Channel or whatever. So I was like, oh my God, I want to be part of it. But then of course you have to pay to be able to go to that event. Now that I think about it, it's funny, but the lady, she wrote down the price that my parents would have to pay for me to do this. And then she slid it to my mom. My mom like picked up the piece of paper, then looked at it and she put it back down and she just started laughing. So I was like, okay, so we're not doing this. To this day, I wonder how much it was. Maybe I should ask my mom. But who knows? I could have been a child star like Millie, but it's fine. Because honestly, the things that child stars have been through, I've had a great childhood, so it was a blessing in disguise. But one thing I do know is that growing up is hard, and growing up on a global stage is even worse. Everyone feels entitled to have an opinion on how you should grow up, how you should look, and how you should act. And honestly, I would say that all of us have been through that, but just not on a global stage. It's the same thing, but just different magnitudes. Like just imagine like you're a young girl, you just turned 16 years old, you want to start wearing makeup and your parents are like, cool, go ahead. But as soon as you start wearing makeup, your aunties, your uncles, your grandmothers, your grandpas, the random people who you don't even know who they are, but somehow they're related to you, they're telling you that you should not wear makeup, that it looks ugly, you look too old, you look too fat. Like just imagine that, but it's the internet doing that. This is what's happening with Millie, if we're being honest. But speaking of this, I wanted to ask y'all's opinion on Instagram. So this is what I said. What does society really mean when they say a young woman looks old? 29% of you said heavy makeup and styling adds maturity, which I can see making sense. Of course, glam, like heavy glam, makeup, hair, all that stuff, that can definitely age someone, but I feel like that can only age you so much. Then 31% said cosmetic procedures like fillers and Botox, which came out as the top answer. Then one of my old friends from high school swiped up and she said that Botox makes a 60-year-old look like they're 40, but makes a 20-year-old look like they're 40. I thought that was really interesting. Let me know if you agree. And I could see this being true, because from my understanding, filler is meant to make your face look more plump and just to fill in the areas that have sagged in your face or is like deflated because you've aged. So of course, if you're like 60 and your skin is, let's say, like deflated, adding filler is gonna add that like plumpness to your face. But if you're young and you're getting it because like you already have a plump face, I can see that making you look older than you are. Then 22% said this whole she looks old thing is just another way to control women. This one, I know I say all of them low-key are true, but low-key this one is true too, because people, society, the quickest way for them to humble a woman is just to insult how she looks. That's how they do it. You could be a smart, bomb, amazing person, but they're gonna try to humble you and be like, oh, slow down, like, you're not that cute. The way to stop a confident, successful boss lady, or anyone for that fact, is to get them to start questioning themselves. Once that person starts questioning what they're doing, themselves, how they look, or whatever, that can definitely affect them. And then 17% of you said that people are uncomfortable seeing child stars grow up. This one probably hits deep for a lot of people. We watch these kids grow up on the screen, and the moment that they hit 18 and start dressing more grown or posing differently, suddenly we're all like, what happened to her? Or she used to be so innocent. As if they're not allowed to grow up and explore adulthood like everyone else. And I feel like I was guilty of this, but when I was younger though, when I would watch Disney Channel and I would watch like Demi Lovato, Selena Gomez, Miley Cyrus. So when they grew up, I'm like, oh my God, they're inappropriate. They're doing bad stuff. I was young though, so that's why I was saying that. But I feel like we're just so used to seeing them as young kids that when they grow up, people just don't know how to act. Seems like when the internet calls child stars old, it's rarely about actual age. It's about discomfort because you're no longer fitting into the box people put you in, and instead of examining why that makes them uncomfortable, they blame your makeup, your face, your choices. It's really not about aging. It's about you not being who they decided you to be. And this is exactly what I feel like is happening to Millie Bobby Brown. So let's get into this situation and delve straight into the controversy surrounding Millie. Part 2, the Millie Bobby Brown controversy. Millie is not someone who shows up on my For You page a lot, or honestly, she literally does not show up on my page at all. Anyway, so because I don't see her on my page, I didn't know that she was getting bullied for her looks until she posted that Instagram video on her page. But before we talk about the video that Millie posted, let's take it back to the beginning of where this all started. I can't pinpoint exactly when people started calling Millie old and saying that she looks way older for her age, but I feel like this started last year-ish. I feel like it started to become more noticeable in 2024, but I could be wrong. It could be even sooner than that. So on December 30th, 2024, Millie posted a mirror selfie doing the duck face. You know, that was like the go-to face back in the day. Actually, low-key, people still do that to this day. I still do the duck face to this day. Yeah, so she was doing the duck face and she had a mini Louis Vuitton bag in her hands. Maybe it was a brand deal, I'm not sure. I didn't think much of the picture, but when you go to the comments, 90% of it was about her appearance. People were calling her old. They said she had to stop using filler or Botox. People did defend her in the comments as well, but a repeated comment I saw was people comparing her to a 40-year-old Jersey housewife. I've seen that a lot, not only under that Instagram post, but in general. When people say that about Millie, they are referring to the show The Real Housewives of New Jersey, which is a reality TV series that is part of Bravo's Real Housewives franchise. It's probably one of the most chaotic and entertaining reality shows to ever exist. The first episode was in 2009, and it follows the personal and professional lives of a group of women living in suburban New Jersey. But it's not just about the house tours and shopping sprees. The cast is known for family drama, loyalty, betrayal, explosive arguments, and tables literally being flipped. It's that type of reality show. The Real Housewives franchise in general is very popular. I've never watched an episode just because, man, I don't care. I was young when it came out. I did not really care to watch it. The OG and unofficial face of the show is Teresa Giudice. Hopefully I said that right. I'm pretty sure it's Giudice. Yes, it's Giudice. She's been there since day one, and she's known for her iconic one-liners and just her over-the-top personality. So when people are comparing Millie to a Jersey housewife, they are referring to this show, to how these ladies look. And yeah, these ladies look great, but it is meant to insult Millie by saying that she looks like them. Because most of the ladies in this show are in their 50s, 40s, and 50s. Millie is 21 years old. She just turned 21. Even though the ladies, they do look nice. Sure, sometimes the filler does look like it's overdone. I will say that, I'm just being honest, but it is meant to be an insult for Millie. But if y'all think that Millie looks like a 40-year-old Jersey housewife, I honestly have to ask, how do you expect a 20-year-old to look or a 30-year-old to look? What do you look for to say, okay, you're 20, you're 30, you're 40? Because this is just a genuine question, because I don't see it. I personally don't see it or understand why people are saying that she looks like a 40-year-old Jersey housewife. I've said this before and I'll say this again. Our perception of aging is messed up. I'll talk about it more in the next section, but just keep that in mind because it is. Here are some of the comments that I saw under Millie's post, the one that she was doing the duck face and she had a Louis Vuitton bag. So this is what people are saying. One user said, "Y'all, she's not a kid anymore. You're still expecting her to look like baby 11. She's not." Another one said, "Can't legally drink but looks 45. I don't know what 45-year-olds y'all are looking at, but whatever." And this comment said, "You know, I have no clue who she is." She was referring to Millie. "But as I scroll, I said to myself, she's cute, and I'm being honest. I said she's about 35 or so. It was my granddaughter that told me she's only like 19 or 20 years old. I said, no way, seriously? I opened the story and I found my granddaughter was right. And I just moved on and came back and had to write this." This comment just gave me that auntie. Like, you know, like the auntie that hasn't seen you in a couple of weeks or even a couple of months. And then the first thing she says when she sees you is that, "Oh, you have gained weight. You have pimple on your face." You know, those ones? That is exactly what this comment is giving. No hello, how are you? How is school? How is life? How's your mental health? It's straight to the insults. And what's wild is the fact that they always say it like there's nothing wrong. They say it like it's natural. I'm like, girl, if I cuss you out right now, they're gonna call me disrespectful. So what do you want? But let me not talk too much because I know some of them watch my videos. So that's all I'm gonna say. Then of course, a user said, "She looks like a 40-year-old Jersey housewife." Not surprised. After I read the comments under Millie's post, I went on Instagram to ask y'all this question. By the way, if you want to be part of future polls and discussions on this channel, I'm NK's World with 2 Ds. Feel free to check me out. Anyways, this is what I asked you guys. Do you think society has a healthy understanding of what different ages should look like? 49% of you said, "Not at all. We are obsessed with youth." Well, one thing I'll say about that is that I feel like the West is more focused on staying productive, staying young, staying youthful, versus like the East, they respect elders more. Because I feel like here it's like, okay, you put your parents in a retirement home, whatever, because they're like a burden. But in Eastern culture, the elders are more respected. You have to, like, it's a big deal to respect your elders. You take care of your parents. Of course, everyone's different, so I can't generalize it. But for the most part, that's what I see. So I will say though that looking young, being young is definitely more praised in Western culture. And I do live in the West, so I see that. Then 24% of you said that, no, people think that 25 is old. I know quite a bit of people who are turning 25 this year or have already turned 25, and they're always joking about how they're old now. I'm like, girl, how is 25 old? But I know they're joking though, because sometimes I call myself old too. But I feel like some people genuinely think that. They think that 25 is old, but then you get to the age 25 and you're like, hello? 25 is not old. Just making that clear if you didn't know. Then 27% said, kinda, but social media messed it up. Which is facts, you know, between the filters, the fillers, and everyone posing in the best angle, using Facetune or whatnot. I feel like it's easy to make yourself look 10 years younger just with a snap of your finger. With social media, of course. I'm so used to seeing people who are in their 40s, 50s, looking snatched, amazing, face on point, everything on point on social media, just cause I guess that's what my algorithm shows me. So even myself, I feel like my perception of aging is a bit flawed because I am so used to seeing these beautiful people who are 40, 50, and 60. That makes me want to strive to look like that once I hit that age. So I definitely feel like when we see all these young looking 40-year-olds or whatnot, it definitely messes with our perception of age. And we think that 20-year-olds are looking like 40-year-olds just because the 40-year-old looks young, if that makes sense. Then only 1%, not even 2%, not even 3%, just 1% said that, yes, people exaggerated online. That's crazy, only 1%. But this poll shows that deep down that we know that the way we talk about aging is weird, but we've yet to unlearn it. But thank you so much for participating in this poll. Make sure you check me out on Instagram. It's NK's World with 2 Ds, so you can be part of future polls and we can kiki it up. there. You know what I'm saying? But let's continue with this video, and I have more questions coming up, so don't you go anywhere so you can be part of the discussion. So if we fast forward to February 2025, which is just last month or 2 months ago, the drama surrounding Millie's appearance resumed again. At the time of this video, Millie is currently on a press tour with her co-star Chris Pratt for their new movie called The Electric State, which will be released March 14th on Netflix. So on the red carpet, Millie showed up in this metallic figure-hugging Anna Ibiza gown that honestly gave me like futuristic glam. Her hair was styled in a messy high bun with soft bangs framing her face, and her makeup was very Y2K coded. She had a frosty blue eyeshadow look, black eyeliner, and a peachy nude lip. So it was giving like Y2K, like I'm that girl type vibe, you know what I'm saying? And also a lot of articles pointed out that her hair is blonde because Millie is a natural brunette, but she recently dyed her hair blonde, which I feel like looks really cute on her. Some people have been saying that Millie has went blonde because she's preparing to be part of the Britney Spears biopic. I don't know how true that is. It is not confirmed, but I think that'd be interesting to see. So let's stay tuned for that. Anyways, this red carpet look had people talking nonstop. That's really what prompted Millie to reply to everyone coming for her neck, because they were really coming for her neck. There was multiple articles dissecting her appearance. It was a lot, you know, headlines, think pieces, Twitter threads. It really became a whole conversation. So I went on Twitter to see what people are saying about Millie and her recent red carpet appearance. And honestly, I regretted it because when you search up Millie's name on Twitter, also I know it's called X, but I prefer calling it Twitter. Anyways, when you search up her name, it's disgusting. Like people are actually disgusted. Like this is why I hate going on Twitter, because there's literally no filter. Like yes, Twitter can be funny when it wants to be, but there's literally no filter. And AI on Twitter is, in my opinion, out of hand. If you're ever getting dragged online, just avoid Twitter. Delete the app off your phone because it will ruin your day or even week. But the images I saw of Millie were disgusting, and they're all AI too. I'm not going to show any of them, but they were just making AI videos of her, sexualizing her. I'm like, what is going on? Like, how is this legal? It is actually becoming a problem there, but I don't see anyone trying to do something about it. Like Elon, doesn't Elon own Twitter? Like, hello, sir? But he's also useless too, so yeah. What's even scarier is the fact that I thought some of the photos were real. I was like, there's no way that is actually Millie, and it wasn't, because it was AI, but at first I thought it was real. And I know some older people probably think it's real. It's giving dystopian, and I don't know how that's legal. When I was on Twitter, I did see some actual real photos of Millie, and these were photos of her after the movie premiere. So she was with her 13-year-old sister, and they were headed to dinner at Mother Wolf in LA. So Millie still had her full glam on. She had her makeup on, she had her hair done. The only thing she changed was her outfit. She was wearing a hot pink sweater that was zip up. Then she also paired it with black sweatpants, and she wore these like really cute like piggy slippers. They looked actually so cute. I don't know where she got it from because I would love to get that, but she looked very comfortable, ready for dinner, because I'm assuming that dress that she was wearing on the red carpet would not have been comfortable to wear to eat. It looked cute though, but it wasn't given comfortable. When people saw this photo of Millie and her sister, they did not hold back. They were saying that Millie is her sister's mom. Girl, Millie does not look like her sister's mom, but whatever. And on top of that, people were comparing her to Dolly Parton. Mind you, Dolly Parton is like 79 years old. Why are we comparing looks? Like, it doesn't make sense. That's what I'm saying. Our perception of aging is so messed up, because how are we comparing a 21-year-old to a 79-year-old? You can tell there's a difference. They both look great, but you can tell that they're not the same age. Honestly, if we think that Millie looks like a 79-year-old, then we are honestly doomed. We need to reevaluate what we consider old and what we consider age in the first place. But even a plastic surgeon had something to say about Millie's looks. Dr. Paul Banwell told Mail Online that Millie's higher cheekbones and fuller lips could be from filler. And then he went on to warn that she might end up with pillow face if she overdoes it. Pillow face is when you inject filler into your face, but it's done too much and it ends up making your face look puffy and it doesn't look good. But I saw an interesting video on TikTok where a cosmetic injector said that people don't just get filler and Botox for the physical results, but also for confidence, which I found was a pretty interesting take. So I'm going to show you the video. Let's roll the clip.
Just wait until you see this. If you're on the fence or debating whether to get filler, there's this one thing that you need to know that only the people who've tried injectables know about. Everyone is talking about how Millie Bobby Brown is looking much older for her age.
21. Do we feel different?
You're not just paying for a syringe or two of filler. You are buying a feeling. Cosmetic injectables give you a level of confidence like no other. I mean, look at her confidence then versus now. She might look a little bit older, but she has stepped out of that once young girl that we all knew her as and blossomed into this strikingly beautiful, confident woman. The goal isn't always to look younger, but to feel better.
I thought that was an interesting take, and that could be true. That I don't know, like it could be true, but I feel like Millie's growth and the way she carries herself now just comes with age and experience. Like, of course, Millie is still young, she's 21, but she's had an extremely successful career and she just turned 21, so she's officially an adult everywhere. She can drink everywhere, I'm pretty sure. Well, everywhere in America. On top of that, she's married. Like, sis has a whole husband now, and she's just been doing really well in her career and in her life. So I feel like it's natural for her to carry herself in this way and just to be different, because you're grown, like you're growing up, you know what I'm saying? Even myself, I'm still young, but I'm growing up and I feel like I've changed a lot, even in just a year. I've done a lot of things that I would have been terrified to do previously. And by doing those things, I have grown so much as a person, and I definitely feel more confident in myself and in my abilities. I trust myself more. I know what I bring to the table, and I'm not looking for outside validation or for people to make me feel good, because I can make myself feel good, because I know myself better, if that makes sense. There was a time where I would have never gone to a restaurant or bar or anything like that by myself. I thought I'd be awkward or boring. I forced myself to do it. I started doing that last year, and honestly, it's been amazing. By doing that, I've been able to meet amazing people, because when you're with your friends, you're not really trying to branch out and talk to other people. You're only talking to your friends. But when you go by yourself, you're more likely to be approached and you're more likely to start a conversation with someone random. By doing that, I have met really cool people who I never thought I would meet. I'm like, damn, I need to do this more often. So pushing myself out of my comfort zone has helped a lot, and that has also come with age too. So that's why I feel like Millie has just gotten older and she's just more accomplished now. So that's where her confidence is coming from, but also I could be wrong. So maybe it's not that Millie is deliberately trying to look old. Maybe she's just stepping into her grown woman era. But it doesn't matter if I think that Millie is stepping into her grown woman era. People are still gonna call her old and call her whatever. So Millie had enough, and she posted a video, a 3-minute video on her Instagram addressing all the hate and calling out everyone. She called out all the journalists and the articles that they wrote by name that criticized her appearance. So here they are. Why are Gen Zers like Millie Bobby Brown aging so badly? By Lydia Hawken. What has Millie Bobby Brown done to her face? By John Eli. Millie Bobby Brown mistaken for someone's mom as she guides younger sister Ava through LA by Cassie Carpenter. Little Britain's Matt Lucas takes savage swipe at Millie Bobby Brown's new mommy makeover look. Written by Bethan Edwards. It looks like after Millie made her clapback post, one of the articles has already been removed because I could not find it. But what article I do want to talk about in particular is the one talking about Matt Lucas, because I feel like there was a misunderstanding with this one. So in a Daily Mail write-up, they mentioned that the comedian and actor Matt Lucas, you might know him from Bridesmaids or Gladiator 2. So he reshared a photo of Millie on X, which is Twitter. And in this picture, she's wearing that pink jacket and the blonde updo. So Matt captioned that photo, "No but yeah but," which is a catchphrase from one of his old characters called Vicky Pollard. Pollard, same thing. And this is how she looks. So obviously she does not look like Millie, but they just have the same outfit and a similar hairstyle. Now, if you don't know, because I did not know, Little Britain was a show that ran from 2003 to 2006. And Vicky was basically this over-the-top parody of a trashy teenage girl. So the reference was meant to be cheeky, but considering the way that people were already coming for Millie's looks, it definitely added fuel to the fire. And especially how the Daily Mail titled the headline. If I didn't know the backstory to the show and what Matt Lucas was trying to convey, I too would have thought that, yeah, he's slamming her looks because of how the Daily Mail titled their headline. Like, these people, they know how to get people clicking their articles. After Millie posted her clapback on Instagram, Matt Lucas saw the post and he ended up apologizing because he did not intend to offend Millie. On March 4th, he wrote, "Dear Millie, I just saw your post and I wanted to respond and provide some context." He explained that around 25 years ago, he co-wrote and he starred in the show Little Britain, the one that I mentioned. So when he saw that Millie was wearing a similar outfit to what Vicky wears, the blonde updo, black pants, and the pink jacket, he thought it was a funny visual reference, and that's why he quoted one of Vicky's catchphrases. Basically, he was trying to say that it wasn't meant to be a dig towards her, more like a nostalgic callback, but with all the criticism that Millie was getting for her looks, that she has been getting for her looks, we can see why it was interpreted that way. He posted his apology on Instagram and turned off the comments, but that did not stop people from still reacting to his apology. Here are some interesting comments that I saw. So one person said, "I think Millie looks cute as hell, but I also think Matt's comment is funny and lighthearted. Given how much revolting dogpiling there's been about her appearance, though I can see why she may not like it." Then another user said, "Agreed, he's not insulting her looks. He made a dig at her outfit, which does look similar to Vicky, and he would know. It's still not nice considering that Vicky was someone to laugh at, not with, but it's not a major insult." Overall, the tweet was not funny to me, but I just have a different sense of humor, so it was not funny. And also, I've never watched the show too, so that's probably why, but at least he acknowledged the misunderstanding, he apologized, and kept it pushing. That's just how it should be. After Millie addressed all the criticism that she's been getting on her looks, she did receive a lot of support from fans and just random people on the internet. However, I don't feel like people will stop calling her out for how she looks. I doubt that. One Reddit user said that they respected the way Millie responded to the backlash. They gave her props for standing up for herself, but they also said that they're not a fan of young people getting Botox and fillers. And I will say I do agree with that. That's why I wanted to bring it up. But just to be clear, I have no idea if Millie has gotten work done. I don't know. I couldn't tell you. So this comment is not about her. It's more of a general concern. I personally feel like if you're young, just hold off on getting Botox and filler. I feel like if you get too much cosmetic work done too early, it can end up backfiring and making you look older than you are, or just like changing your face completely when you're still so young and you're still growing into your features. I personally feel like it's better to wait and let aging do its thing, and then if you want to like get work done, cool, but that's just my opinion. If you have a different opinion, slay. But at the rate we're going with anti-aging, it feels like we're gonna start preventing wrinkles before babies are even born. Okay, maybe that's a little bit dramatic, but I feel like that low-key could happen in the next 50, 100 years. They're gonna create an injection to give pregnant ladies that's gonna slow down the process of their kids aging. Low-key, I feel like that's gonna happen soon. They're gonna be like, take this needle in your second trimester so your baby will be born with optimized collagen levels for the rest of their life. Anyways, after reading the controversy surrounding Millie, it honestly just got me questioning, what is age supposed to look like? Let's keep going with this video. Part 3, what is age supposed to look like? This is actually a serious question because I don't even know how to answer it. I'm confused, but let's see what you guys have to say on Instagram. Where do you think our ideas of aging actually come from? So 22% said celebrities and influencers. And this one I can agree with because earlier I said that on my page, I'm seeing a lot of attractive older people. So subconsciously, I'm like, this is how a 40-year-old supposed to look like. This is how a 50-year-old supposed to look like. But then when you go in the real world and you see actual 40-year-olds or 50-year-olds, you're like, that's not how they actually look. So I definitely feel like my ideas of aging comes from social media, which is definitely not healthy because we know how social media is fake. Then 21% said anti-aging products shoved in our face. That's also another one too, because when you're constantly seeing anti-aging products on like social media, TV, whatever, it does train you to think that, okay, like if you're gonna age, do it right, do it this way. 9% said social media filters. That's kind of tea though. I remember I saw this one video, probably not gonna put it in here, kind of want to embarrass her, but it's like an older lady, she had a filter on and she was in a drive-thru, I believe. The filter like glitched and it came off her face for like 2.5 seconds. But when you saw her face, she looked very different from the social media filter. And that filter made her look like 20 years younger. So I could also see that as well being a thing because social media filters, everyone uses them, so they be messing with our perceptions. Then 48% said a collective fear of aging, which is the #1 answer. I will say that I'm not afraid to age, but I definitely want to age a certain way. Even though it's somewhat unrealistic, well, maybe not unrealistic if you have the resources, genetics, and you have money to age that way. I would want to age to be healthy, still be able to work out when I'm like 80, to run, walk, and do all that. That's really what I want. I see 80-year-olds with like no wrinkles. Sure, they probably have Botox, they probably have like filter on and whatnot, but it's hard not to want that when that's what you see because you're like, okay, if she can do it, I can do it. But we need to consider like resources, money, and genetics, of course. So I will say that I feel like probably a lot of us don't want to admit it, but we're afraid to age. I feel like I'm not afraid to age, but I just want to age a certain way. And I just want to be healthy and I want to live a long, happy life. That's really my biggest priority. If I was a woman in Hollywood, I definitely would be afraid to age because the way they treat older women who don't age how they're supposed to is brutal. But when you age nicely and well and you look very hot like Berry. You look like Halle Berry when you're like 50, you're gonna get praised. If I was in Hollywood, I would definitely be afraid. So a lot of you replied to this story, so I wanted to read what some of y'all said because I found it very interesting. So Callie said, the media in general, and I would argue sexism / male expectations on female beauty centered around youth. 100%. Bro, I don't know if I ever told the story before, but I went to Miami like a year ago, 2 years ago. We were in the club having fun, and the men are the ones like who have the booths. They pay for the bottles, whatever, and they invite girls into their booth. The way that the men were treating the older ladies, they were rude. I genuinely felt so bad. And I was talking to one of them and she's like, yeah, they said I'm too old, I can't go in the booth. Like, seeing the way they treated them firsthand, I was like, wow. And it's so true. Like, the epitome of beauty is considered youth. It really is male expectations. That's where all of this is rooted from. The beauty standards in general, it's male expectations. And it's not fair because men can age any way they want. They can have a beer belly, have a unkept beard, whatever. No one will bat an eye. For example, if Beyonce did not age well, she would have multiple articles written about her appearance on the daily, period. But also Grace said, glamorization of youth in media and the history of glamorizing youthful appearance, specifically women under patriarchy. That's similar to what Callie said as well. It really is like male expectations on beauty. They believe that women should look young. If you look old, you're dusty, you're washed up, you've served your purpose, and now you're expired. So that's why I understand why women want to prevent aging, because if we age badly, it's hard, like genuinely hard. And if we age amazingly, then you're going to be treated better. You're going to be put on a pedestal. That's how it is. A lot of you swiped up, but unfortunately I cannot read every single comment in this video. But thank you so much for participating. I really appreciate your input. It's very interesting to read what you guys have to say about these topics. So if you are interested in being part of future polls and also kikiing it up with me, head over to my Instagram, NK's World with 2 Ds, so we can just kiki it up and have a good old time. Let's keep on going with this video. Biologically, aging happens because of accumulated damage in our cells and our systems. This can lead to slower mental and physical functioning, a higher risk of disease, and eventually, well, you know. But aging doesn't hit everyone the same way, and it's not a straight line. Some older people stay sharp and active well into their 80s, while others, they experience challenges earlier. Things like retirement, moving into new housing, losing a loved one, all play a role in how we age, not just biology. Because did you know that most people today expect to live beyond their 60s? People are living longer due to technology now. And it's not just happening in one part of the world, it's happening all over the world. Each country is experiencing more older people. By 2030, 1 in 6 people in the world will be 60 or older. And by 2050, the global population of people over 60 is expected to double from 1 billion in 2020 to 2.1 billion. Then the number of people over 80, that's expected to triple. So as you can see, the world is aging and we need to grow with it. We're gonna have way more older people within the next 10, 20, 30 years coming up. We need to realize that aging is normal, it's healthy, it's natural, and you cannot expect people to look like they're 21 forever. So yes, some parts of aging are in our control, but for the most part, a lot of them are not. It's your genetics, your lifestyle, what happens in your lifetime. You just don't know. And to expect everyone to age the same way and to be calling people old when they're 21 is just ridiculous, because our perception of aging is so flawed. We've let social media, the filters, celebrities, influencers trick us into thinking that everyone should age the exact same way. And now we feel like 40-year-olds should look like 20-year-olds and 20-year-olds should look like they're still in high school. That's what it's giving. I know the internet is dumb, but how are you guys comparing Millie to a 40-year-old or even a 79-year-old? If y'all think that a 79-year-old should look like Millie, then we are completely effed. I personally feel like people are just reacting to Millie's new look with the blonde hair and the bold makeup. I feel like she's probably gotten like a new makeup artist. They've been eating though. The makeup's more glam, the hair is blonde, so that's probably it. People are probably just not used to seeing her look like that, and that's why they're calling her old. But just because Millie has grown up and styled herself differently doesn't mean that she skipped 2 decades of life overnight just because of the way she looks. If we think that Millie looks 40, then what is age supposed to look like? What are we expecting 20-year-olds to look like? What what are we expecting 30-year-olds to look like, or even 40-year-olds to look like? I really feel like our whole idea of aging comes from celebrities and social media, and that is extremely harmful because, as I've said many times before, these people have money. They have the coin. They're millionaires. Some of them are billionaires. They have money. They have the resources to slow down the aging process. I heard that there's this procedure where you can get your whole body tightened and it's like 100K. Who the hell is spending 100K on beauty maintenance on just one procedure? Rich people. And not only the cosmetic procedures too, they have access to have assistants, get help so they're not overly stressed, because we know stress can age you. They also have money to hire an amazing chef that's going to give them balanced meals. They can also hire a personal trainer. Like, the list goes on and on and on. They can hire help to make their life so much easier, resulting in them not stressing themselves out and aging slower. So when we're constantly seeing them look flawless at 45 or even 60, it does skew our expectations. And then we start thinking that's what aging should look like. But the reality is that that's not the real life for the average person. Still, I get it though. Like, it's easy to compare yourself to what you see all the time, especially when it's being praised 24/7. But we have to remind ourselves that what we're seeing is filtered, edited, and backed by a whole team. Aging does not come with glam squads for most people, and that's okay. I believe that anti-aging technology is only going to get better and better as the years go by. So I 100% feel like that's probably going to skew our expectations more, and more people are going to get access to looking young. And who knows, maybe almost all of us are going to start doing procedures to look younger. I just don't know. I don't like neos, man, but I really don't know. I genuinely do feel for Millie and how the way the press has treated her. I feel like one or two people said that she looks like a 40-year-old Jersey housewife, and now people have ran with that. I feel like some people don't even think that, but they're just saying that because that's what's been said a lot on social media. Hopefully, now that she has called out the press, they're gonna leave her alone about her appearance, but I honestly doubt that. I don't think they will. So this whole conversation surrounding Millie is interesting, and it just brings up a bigger conversation about aging. There is a war on aging. Nobody wants to see no wrinkle, period. If you have a wrinkle, then you are a bad person and you should disappear off earth. That's what it's giving. There's a lot of angles I could have taken with this video. I'm very interested in this topic, and I'm considering making more videos about aging and whatnot. So let me know if you're interested. There's a lot of things that I could have covered, but I just didn't, because I didn't want the video to be too long. But just let me know what your thoughts are on this video. Let me know. You can check out other videos that are similar to this topic so you can get more tea on the topic. And I'm gonna see y'all next 2 weeks, girl, I don't know. Also, don't forget to check out my second channel where we're gonna have more fun there, kiki it up, and I'm gonna do video ideas that you guys want me to do that I cannot do here. Well, I mean, I could do it here, but I want to keep the content separate just because it makes more sense to me. And yes, I'll see y'all very soon. So thanks for being here. Bye.